Hey guys, it's Lane with Tim's Nation. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about my Leagues of Votann list I'm running. Now, we had a balanced data slate update and points updates last week, so I don't think the Votann are exactly good yet, but they are definitely better. And with the points reduction, we have more of them. There are just so many squats running around the table. So I'm excited about a couple things. I'm hopeful about the improvement, but I don't honestly think they're good. I was very frustrated at the start of 10th edition. They didn't feel like they were even really playable, and most folks were in consensus that they may have been the lowest army competitively in terms of win rate and just being able to function. There's a lot of things that they didn't really correct or even look into. I think some of our characters are just kind of useless. For example, in today's lists, I'm not running a call because of the changes they made. I don't think I need a call, and I don't think they'll last very long if I do put one on the table. So I'm not running one. But anyways, we got a bunch of point reductions, and they did increase the number of units that we can mark in the beginning of the game. I'm very excited to see that, especially because they didn't just go from, you mark one with 2 judgment tokens at the beginning of the game and move it to 2. They moved it all the way up to 4, and I think that was really they needed to go that far and make that big a change into it. I think there still needs some buffs. I think there needs to be better synergies within the army. I think there should be a 3rd judgment token that goes out, and it should increase the AP on the attacks. But I don't think GW is really going to give us those things. We're just going to have to experiment with what we've got right now. Now, I know a lot of people are running a lot of Hearthguard. I did not have very many of the Hearthguard built. I only had one 5-man squad that I was using in 9th edition. I thought it was a great utility piece because of the teleport crest. I used the relic teleport so they could block out Deep Strike, and I could jump them in and do some mortal wounds with their Vulcanite guns. I think right now they are better, but I need some time to build more. I've got 10 more, but I got to cut them out of the box, build them, and paint them for you. So I do plan on running more Hearthguard in the future. But for today, it's only a 5-man squad. And we make up for that for running those 18 bikes that I had built for 9th edition. So we're going to go through the list together, talk a little bit about the rules, talk about a little bit about just the fact that a lot of the points have gone down. So follow me over there, and let's check it out. All right, before we go through every detail of the list and what I'm bringing today, I want to go a little bit through League of Votann army rules in case anybody isn't super familiar with them yet. First of all, our army rule is the Eye of the Ancestors. Basically, what this means is anytime a unit is killed, anytime a Votann unit is killed, the opponent's unit that did the killing gets a judgment token. And there are a couple other ways on other units and through enhancements and things you can affect judgment tokens as well. Again, I'm still disappointed that army-wide, that's the only way to mete out judgment tokens. But if an enemy model or an enemy unit has 1 judgment token on them, then you get to add 1 to your hit roll. Sounds really good, except the whole army is starting at ballistic skill and weapon skill 4. So but 1 judgment token gives you +1 to hit, and then a 2nd judgment token adds 1. They stack, so it both adds 1 to the hit roll and adds 1 to the wound roll. So makes things better at wounding. Now, the detachment rule is ruthless efficiency, and what this does is at the start of the game, you pick now, thanks to the balanced data slate update, we're going to pick 4 of the enemy's units. And each of those units will get 2 judgment tokens. So we've got 4 that are already maxed out. And then in addition to this, the first time you kill one of those, if you have killed one of those units either in your first command phase or by the start of your 2nd command phase, you gain 3 CP. If you've destroyed one of those units by the start of your 3rd or 4th command phase, you gain 2 CP. And if you destroy one by the start of your 5th command phase, you gain 1 CP. Now, it does specify that you can only gain CP in this way once per battle. So you'll only get that once. But if you do manage to kill an opponent's model or enemy unit that's been marked through your first turn, that means in your 2nd turn and your 2nd turn command phase, you will get 3 CP. So it's a huge buff. And because now we can give out 4 of those marks with that just means that you can pick one of them to give to an easy kill unit. So you can pick up one and get those CP easily, and then you can put the other ones on some more hard to kill units that you're going to need to take out in order to protect your army. So it gives us a little more flexibility there. All right, so the actual list itself. Today we have 2 characters. I have the Ironhereth Champion, the E Champ, and I have the Iron Master. So the E Champ, the reason I'm running him today, he has a strong close combat profile, but the big reason I'm taking him is because he's running with the Ironhereth Guard, and the Hearth Guard, their special rule is that they are -1 to wound when they have a character leading them. So now that he's even cheaper at 60 points, I'm throwing him in there. And of course, when he leads a unit, that lets that unit re-roll their charge rolls. And anytime he completes a charge, he picks an enemy unit that he got into engagement range with, and he can do some mortals depending on a dice roll. So that is the E Champ. And then we still have one of my favorites, the Broke Here Iron Master. I don't know how great he'll be, but what I am doing with him is having him lead the Thunderkin, because he gives his unit +1 to hit. He can still repair vehicles. That's kind of just a little extra bonus. If he happens to be near some vehicles, I may take advantage of that. I do have vehicles in the list here, but really I'm taking it to give his squad +1 to hit. And he also, the nice thing is leading the Thunderkin, I've given him the grav cannons. The Forge Master has his own graviton rifle, so he adds another anti-tank, anti-vehicle 2-up weapon to that squad, which is a kind of nice buff. And then all his little ECOG buddies, his little robot buddies that accompany him are still there. They join the unit as well, and he's the only one that has the character keyword. So that means that I can tank some wounds on his robot buddies before I actually get to the meat of the unit to get to the Thunderkin. So, I did forget to mention enhancements. So for the E-Champ, I did give him Appraising Glare. It just means in my command phase, he picks one objective marker that my opponent's holding, and any enemy units within range of that marker, within control range, within 3 inches of the marker, count as having one more judgment token, and then they actually do until the next command phase. And the Iron Master, I gave him the enhancement Grim Demeanor. This just means anytime I fail a battle shock test with his unit, they can re-roll it. And also, his unit can ignore any or all modifiers to their characteristics and or rolls or tests. So if for some reason my opponent is -1 to hit or has stealth or anything like that, at least these guys can ignore that penalty. I took the 2 enhancements today because I have some extra points. I'm not even close to the 2,000, but I wanted to just try those out on those specific units. So next, we've got 1 10-man squad of the Hearthkin Warriors. These guys, their special rules that they can sticky up objectives, so hopefully they'll do that. I will be splitting them up into the 2 Sagittars today. Next, we've got the Ironhereth Guard. Again, I mentioned before, their special rule is that they, when they are led by a character, they're -1 to wound. They do have the teleport crest today, as does the character, so they do have the ability to teleport, drop in somewhere close, and get to work. They are they're armed with the Vulcanite Disintegrators, so hopefully can kick out a few devastating wounds with those. And they do have the Plasma Blades. That's just because that's what they're modeled with. We'll be running with those. Next, we've got the Thunderkin, the Broke Here Thunderkin. So these guys, their special rule is that when they Overwatch, they hit on 5s. I have them armed with the Graviton Blast Cannons today. So these only have an 18-inch range, but they do have D6 attacks, and they are blast. They are Strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage, and they are anti-vehicle 2-up. Meaning once I get those hits in there, as long as I hit vehicles, I'll be wounding them on 2-ups. So hopefully get some damage out there. Next, we've got the Berserkers. These guys definitely dropped in their power from 9th edition, but they've now gotten pretty cheap. It's only 100 points for a 5-man squad. So I've got them until I get more of the Hearth Guard. That we're going to be running with a couple of squads of these guys. Their Mole Grenade Launcher can slow down units. So anytime they shoot with their grenade launcher and hit something, as long as it's not a monster or vehicle, I roll a d6 on a 4-up. We then subtract 2 from the movement and 2 from the advance and charge rolls for that unit. until the next through the next turn. So it only goes off on a 4-up, but I do have 2 of them, so hopefully I can slow down some of these Necrons that are going to be coming towards me, especially these Scorpex that I do not want to be in engagement range with. Their special rule is the Cyber Stims. So anytime they die, I roll a d6. On a 4-up, they get to fight before they actually die. Hopefully they'll be rolling lots of 4-ups because I'm pretty sure they're going to be dying today. They've got the plasma axes, so they do have a strike and they do have a sweep profile. Of course, we've got 18 of my babies, the Hernkin Pioneers, the jet bikes. Obviously, this is still from my 9th edition list where they were really great. I think they're still really good. They have some flexibility. They've got a 9-inch scout move. They can jump off the table as long as at the end of the turn, at the end of my opponent's turn, they're within 6 of the battlefield edge. I can pick them up and put them into strategic reserves. We've got the auto cannons on them, so we'll be putting out a lot of shots, and they do have the rotary cannons as well. And we've got all the upgrades on them, of course. 2 of the Sagittars. These guys went down in points too, so we'll throw them in there. Of course, they have the ability to split up the 5-man or the Earth Cannon into 5-man units. They do have a 6-inch scout move, which is nice. The units, the models that inside can actually disembark after the vehicle has advanced, so they don't count as having made. They count as having made a normal move. They can't declare a charge, but they can still shoot and do actions, of course, which might be handy. And then we've got the big boys. The Hackathons are back on the table, guys. I don't know how good they'll be, but they're freaking cheap. So we're going to put them out there. Their special rule is whenever they shoot something, if a unit that was in them that had disembarked also shoots at the thing that they shot, then they get that the unit gets to reroll wounds. It's a lot of terms and conditions for that special rule, and I don't know if I'll be using that today. I might just put Berserks in there, but that's their special rule. They have the Magna Rail. I'm going to be running the Magna Rail and the Conversion Beamers, the 2 big weapons, and bolt cannons all around. The Magna Rail is not as amazing as it once was because it does have devastating wounds, and it is d6 plus 6 damage, but there are no rerolls of any kind. No guarantees. So you just have to roll a 6 on the wound for that one shot to really proc the devastating wounds. However, it still is strength 18, AP 4, but I know DJ's got some invuln saves in this army, so it's really going to come down. Man, I hope this Hackathon rolls a 6 on a wound roll at some point. That is it for the list. All right, guys, so I'm taking on DJ's Necrons today. The Pioneers have a ton of shots. The jet bikes can put in a ton of shots still. They're not as efficient, as effective as they used to be, but they're still powerful. The bikes have the upgrade, so they're going to be ignoring cover. The Hackathons have the ignore cover rule, and all their shots are at AP1. So for a lot of things, they'll just be putting them on their invulns pretty quickly. Hopefully getting that +1 to wound, and hopefully scoring those extra CP by killing one of those prime units, one of the units that I pick out at the beginning during the first battle round. Now, I will appreciate your feedback. Like I said, I'm going to get more Hearthguard on the table soon. But let me know what kind of weapons you think they should be equipped with at this point. I am not really decided on the weapons for the Sagittars or the weapons for the Hearthguard at this point. So I'd be glad to hear your feedback on what you're equipping everything with. But let me know. Other than that, follow me over to the battle report. We'll see how these guys do against some Necrons. All right, have a good one.